What's up, EV Clan? Alex Espion here, and welcome back to the next episode of the Pokemon Gold Randomizer Nuzlocke. If you missed the last episode, we went to Ilex Forest, and we did a Farfetch puzzle, and if you don't know what that is, then basically what we did is we had to, like, get a Farfetch'd over to a guy who had lost the Farfetch'd so that his boss would not be mad at him, and then his boss gave us, Cut. And so now we have the Cut HM, which we can teach to one of our Pokemon, which I just realized that I did not do yet, so I'm going to do that after this battle with this Ho-oh, because in this forest you can run into wild Ho-ohs, which is scary, and, I was gonna think of, like, a plus side to this. I was trying to think of, like, a plus side. It's like, it's scary, but I think we can handle it, and then I realized, like, no, we probably can't. This is really scary. Like, I was trying to think of the plus side, I was trying to think of the silver lining on this cloud, but then I realized, no, it's just a Ho-oh. Like, this is actually just terrifying. It's pretty scary, but, there is no but, it's just really scary, actually. Yeah, so I'd like to get out of this forest as soon as possible. I did not realize that I had to progress through this forest. I thought that this forest only existed for the purpose of getting us cut, but as it turns out, this forest actually leads somewhere. It actually lets out onto another route, which we need to get to, and travel up in order to get to, the next town that we need to get to, which is Goldenrod City. Which is not a town, which is a city, so I probably shouldn't have said town, because that was stupid, and that was not what it was. It was a city, not a town, so therefore I was wrong, and I should have said city instead of town, but I called it a town regardless, because, you know, that's just, I feel like, more commonly, I feel like regardless of whether it's a town, it's actually a town or a city, I feel like everyone who plays Pokemon just calls it, like, a town. Even if it's a city, they just call it a town. Like, any collection of buildings that has a gym in it, or something interesting in it, or, like, just any collection of buildings, really, they call it a town. Regardless of whether it's a town or a city, or maybe even, like, I don't know, like, whether it's a town or a city, they call it a town. That's what I'm trying to say. Cut. Anyway, we're learning Cut. Do we have anything that heals burns, first of all? Because if we don't, that's a shame, because we're gonna get burned a lot, by Ho-oh, because, as I said in the last episode, I think that, Sacred Fire burns every time. So if we don't have berries, we don't have anything that cures burn, then that's a problem. But also, if we do have things that cure burn, and we don't have too many of them, I don't want to waste it, because why would I use it when I could just, like, when I'm just gonna get burned again the next time I run into a Ho-oh? It doesn't seem we have anything that cures burn, which, you know what, is perfectly fine, because, let's be honest, like, who cares if I'm burned? Well, I care if I'm burned, but, like, even if I'm burned, there's not really much I can do about it, even if I do have things that cure burn, because, like, even if I heal it, I'm still gonna get burned, like, next time I run into a Ho-oh, and they inevitably use Sacred Fire, because that's their most powerful move, and it stabs, so why would they not use it? Literally, the minute I run into a Ho-oh, regardless of what Pokemon I send out, none of my Pokemon... Oh, what did I just do? Forgot Quick Attack? That's a shame. Why did I do that? I just need to stop, like, randomly mashing A, because I forget how, like, quickly it loads up the, like... It loads up the moves, and it's like... Delete it? Yes. I forget how quickly it loads that up, so I just keep on, like, deleting moves that I don't mean to delete when I try to teach TMs and HMs. I need to stop doing that, but I feel like that wasn't a problem in Gen 1. I feel like I wasn't running into that. I feel like it's much faster in this game, like, teaching TMs and deleting moves. I feel like that whole process is much faster, but because I don't remember, like, running into that issue as much in Gen 1. But, anyway, yeah, just, like, the Ho-ohs may be level 4, but they are still Ho-ohs, and that's still stab, and Sacred Fire is still high power. So, the Sacred Fires do more damage than you'd expect, and it's not even just the damage that's a major problem, it's the burn, because, like, that's just consistent damage. Like, getting hurt by the burn every turn, coupled with, like, how many Pokemon we're facing without being able to heal it, is just racking up the damage, and it's not good. It's not good. It's, like, really... This is really torturous going through this forest. It is really hard to get through here, because just, like, it's a long path. It's a long, winding path with a lot of encounters that I can get lost in. And that's where you would get a Celebi if that event was happening, which it does not, because it has not happened in like over 20 years. And it's also making it really hard to switch train Stuart, because these Ho-ohs are doing so much damage and getting the burn off. These Ho-ohs are doing so much damage to whatever I switch in, so I don't want to switch train, because like it's being really tough on like the Pokemon that I'm switching into with the switch training, because it means like the minute they get sent out, they're getting a fair bit of damage done to them, and they're getting a burn. And they're getting burned. So like before they can even do anything, Ho-oh is doing a fair bit of damage and burning them. And they're just like getting burned instantly the minute they enter the battlefield. So like, they can't really do anything about it, they're just burned automatically. And then they have to deal with that for the rest of the time that we're in this forest, because we don't have a way to heal the burn. And we don't have enough money at this point where we can buy a fair amount of potions, so that burn doing that much damage is like a problem, because it's like whittling them down, and we don't have the resources to effectively heal them. And yes, okay, in the last episode I said about how there was like a Kingdra, how I thought I ran into a Kingdra in this forest, but it could have just been in a previous episode. It was actually in that forest. There are Kingdras and Horsies both available as encounters in this forest, and I still do not know what I ran into in my forest that was my encounter that I killed. That's how little attention I was paying attention to the situation. That's how little attention I was paying attention to the situation. That's how little I was paying attention to the situation, that I don't even know what it was that I killed that was my encounter. But we're gonna go for the Gust, which is not super effective, which is, Stab. So that's why we're gonna go for it. And it's gonna do a fair amount of damage to the Kingdra. Not gonna kill it. It would have one-hit KO'd it if we weren't burned, but as I said, because of the switch training, Henrietta was burned the second they locked eyes with that Ho-oh. The second they laid eyes on that Ho-oh, Ho-oh burned them. Not even a thing that Henrietta could do, because they just had to switch into that burn. They switched in only to be instantly hit with a Sacred Fire by a Ho-oh, and that burns. And that burns, whatever they do, it burns. It burns every time. So that's just instant burn the second they enter the battlefield. And it's bad, because now our two Pokemon that are like most useful to us are burned. And they're just like constantly taking damage throughout this forest, and we don't have the resources to heal the burn, nor do we have resources to keep up with the damage that the burn is doing realistically as we go through this forest. So we need to just get out of here as soon as possible. And we need to like try not to turn back, and if we turn back, then we just have to do all this over again, and so we're gonna get burned again, and that's just gonna cost us more resources. This is a terrible situation. Ilex Forest is so overgrown with trees that you can't see the sky. Please watch out for items that may have been dropped. And the thing is, like, burn always does like a set amount of your health. So, like, it doesn't matter if we're like gaining levels as we go through here. The fact of the matter is that burn is still going to do damage, because it doesn't matter how high level we get compared to the Ho-ohs we're fighting. Them burning us is still going to be a problem, because it's still going to do the same amount of damage regardless of how much health we have. It's still going to do the same percentage of our health. Our health will increase. When our health increases, the amount of damage the burn is doing increases with it. So therefore, us gaining levels fighting these Ho-ohs isn't going to help us in fighting these Ho-ohs. It's just a bad situation, in which if we leave, we have to go through this again. We just have to go through it again, and fight more Ho-ohs and get burned again. It is a constant cycle of not having the resources to deal with getting burned, going back to get resources when we run out of resources, and then getting burned and running out of resources again. It is just a continuous cycle of us getting basically kicked out of this forest by... Basically, this is just a continuous cycle of us getting chased out of this forest by these Ho-ohs, then having to go wasting resources, having to go get resources, then wasting more, then getting chased out of this forest, wasting more resources, and just keep on going in and out, getting resources and wasting them, unless we can make our way through this forest without, like, unless we can make our way through this forest to a Pokemon Center on the other side of it, or just to some source of healing on the other side of it, without being chased out. Because if we get chased out, that just means we have to do all that stuff over again. We have to go where we just did over again, run into all those Ho-ohs over again, get burned over again, and waste all our resources over again. So we can't get chased out. We can't just turn around and go back when we need healing, because that just effectively, like, that reset all the progress that we just made. It meant that all that resource waste was for nothing. We have gone so far enough into this forest to the point where turning back would just be useless to us. It would save us from possibly death, but it would cost us, but we would have to go back the way we came again and waste more resources. Effectively, turning back would just lead us to having to do this again, and putting ourselves back, and continuously having to do this, continuing this cycle of going in and going back, and going in and going back, buying potions in between, essentially till we are in poverty. And then what happens when we can't buy any more potions? We die. It's that simple. However, it seems we are now out of the forest, so thank goodness we avoided that terrible fate of the cycle of wasting money and being chased out. And wasting money and being chased out. Because it seems we are out, and we do not have to worry about getting trapped in that cycle. Thank goodness. Those Ho-ohs were giving me trouble. Did you see the shrine honoring the Protector? It watches over the forest from across time. I think that it must be a grass-type Pokemon. Yeah, that makes sense, considering it is a forest. Free! But then again, the Lake Guardians are all Psychic types, and you would expect, since they guard a lake, that they would be Water types, so... It's not a foolproof reasoning. Oh, honey, you're making a Pokedex? It's be hard if Pokemon won't appear. Try using this TM. TM? What TM? Is this sweet scent? To, like, lure them in with the scent of sweetness? It's Leer. How does that help me get Pokemon? Use it on enemy Pokemon. That, yes, but, like, how do I get the Pokemon? You just, like, talked as if you were gonna help me get Pokemon, and then you gave me something that doesn't help me get Pokemon. You gave me something that helps me deal with Pokemon that I'm facing, but you didn't give me anything that would help me get more Pokemon. Like, encounter more Pokemon. You gave me something that helps me with Pokemon I've already encountered, but didn't give me anything that would help me encounter more Pokemon. So, like, that doesn't really help me. Unfortunately, lady, that wasn't as helpful as you think it was, but, regardless, thank you, I guess. I do realize now that it was randomized, so, like, I'm sure that was helpful to me encountering Pokemon. It wasn't in this particular file, because what she gave me was randomized. Unless, wait, is it randomized? Yes, it is, because TMs are randomized. Yeah, we can't catch this. In fact, we might just die here. We did just die here. That was great. That was wonderful. Thank you for the crit! Frick! Look, I'll do a little bit of damage. I was not... Oh my gosh, man. I'm like, oh, I could catch this Exeggutor. It's fine at the same level. What do you have to say, Veronica? It's me, Veronica. Got a minute? No, not really! I just saw some rare Poliwrath in Route 30. I'll call you if I see another rare Pokemon. Okay? See you later. See you later, Veronica. Another Pokemon down. Trying to catch something that I was like... they were both level 10. I was expecting the tackle to do more damage. I wasn't expecting to get one shot by the confusion. I knew it was super effective. But, like... I didn't expect to get one shot, and I stand by the fact. I stand by the idea that I wouldn't have gotten one-shotted if it hadn't critted. Like, I think that crit mattered. I personally think that crit definitely mattered. That's where I did my training. Good for you. I did my training just about everywhere. Tried to train up that Venomoth. And that was a waste of time, apparently, because, guess what? It died. Try to train up new Pokemon. I have one. And I have freaking Henrietta. And they're doing alright. They're good. They put in work. Whatever. That's cool. But I can't train up any more Pokemon. I tried to train up more Pokemon, and then they die. Apparently my team count, my Pokemon count, cannot get above 2, for whatever reason. I bet this egg is gonna hatch, and then it's gonna hatch into something, and I'm gonna train it up to like level 15, and be like, this is great, I'm gonna have a 3rd team member, and then it's gonna die. Because every time I think I'm gonna have a 3rd team member on this team that's being useful to the team, that's gonna help out the team, guess what? It dies. There's no way. Like, I get that Venomoth isn't like the bulkiest thing in the world. I'd even say it's pretty frail. But it was the same level as me, and Confusion is not a, like, strong move. That wouldn't have one-shotted me if it wasn't a crit. There's no way. I refuse to believe that would have one-shotted me if it wasn't a crit. That crit mattered. There's no way it didn't. I blame the crit. And maybe the self-destruct on Persian wouldn't have killed if it was a crit either. I think, personally, that I didn't acknowledge the crit when it happened, when Rachel died, because I was like, that crit probably doesn't matter because it's a self-destruct, and self-destruct has very high power. But, like, at the same time, like, Persian was at full health. They were, like, pretty high, like, they were at a higher level than the Pineco. It was a Pineco, it was not, like, a stab explosion or anything. So, like, maybe Persian would have survived without the crit. If it wasn't for the crit. But, like, that one I'm not too sure about. This one I'm much more certain about the fact that if it wasn't for the crit, then Stuart would have lived. A 250 power move, killing without a crit, honestly, whatever. Yeah, I'll believe it. I believe that. I'm not 100% on it. I think the crit might have mattered, but I'm like 90% sure that it didn't. Maybe that's a little high. I'm like 70% sure that it didn't. I am more sure that the crit didn't matter than I am sure that it did matter. But at the same time, like, there is a chance that it did matter, and there was a chance that Persian would have lived on just like a little bit of health. But I'm not like super confident about that. I'm not confident enough on that point to the fact that I mentioned. I'm not confident enough on that to the point that I thought it was worth mentioning when Persian actually died. But with Stuart, come on, Confusion's 40 power. Like, and it was the same level as me. Like, that would do damage. Like, I get that that does damage, but that does not one-shot. I am highly confident in the fact that that does not one-shot. Whereas with the explosion, with the self-destruct, I was not highly confident. I did not mention it with the self-destruct because I was not highly confident in the fact that in the idea that the crit mattered. With this one, I am highly confident in the fact that the crit mattered. 200 power, or 250 power, I don't remember which one's which, self-destruct or explosion, but is like, okay, that's a lot. 40, not a lot. That crit mattered. I'm fairly confident that crit mattered. 40 power, I get it, and while it is stab, so technically that's more like 80. Again, still, 200 versus 80 is a big difference. 200 power, I get. 80, I do not. I'm going to train harder. I'm going to train even harder. After all, I'm trying to become a gym leader. Good luck with that, man. I wish you better luck than I'm having. Okay. You heal up one a little bit. And because Juan, while Henrietta's at okay health, I want to give Juan some more time in the spotlight to get up to Henrietta's level, because Henrietta is in the lead in terms of levels, and I never want my starter to be the least, the lowest level on my team. I just got my Pokemon back from daycare. Let's see how much stronger it got. I never want my Pokemon to be the lowest level, my starter Pokemon to be the lowest level Pokemon on my team. There was more to that sentence. There was absolutely more to that sentence. I just forgot what the rest of that sentence was. I never want my starter to be the lowest level on my team. Okay, I don't remember what the rest of what I was gonna say was, but like, I never want my starter to be the lowest level on my team, even if they are like not the strongest Pokemon. And Henrietta is at level 22, while Juan is only at level 20. And while it may be beneficial to train Henrietta more, at the same time, yeah. Oh wait, I remember what I was gonna say. Well, it may be beneficial to train Henrietta more because Henrietta may be the better Pokemon. They're gonna evolve someday, and they may not stay that way. And also, just like, I care about my starter regardless of what it is, and I want my starter to be the highest level, even if that's not necessarily beneficial to the team. Even if I'm better off realistically training up another Pokemon that is better than my starter, it's still my starter, so I'm still gonna make sure that my starter is the highest level, even if it is only just by 1 level. Because what's important to me is less than its higher level, and it's the highest level in the team, and more so that it's not the lowest, and I can ensure that it's not the lowest if it is the highest, by a little bit. Why does it end this way? And I get that I only have 2 Pokemon on my team, so it's not like my starter is like super underleveled compared to everything else, because it's only underleveled compared to one thing. But like, it's only lower level than one member, and it just happens that that one team member is like the only other member. So it is the lowest level on the team, but that's only because it's lower level than one other team member. But at the same time, I still want it to be the highest level. So I want Juan to get to level 23 before Henrietta gets any more levels. My Pokemon knew moves I didn't know it had. That confounded me to no end. Okay, and you? What do you have to say and do, and what Pokemon do you have? And numerous other questions. I'm the best of my class at Pokemon. Okay. I have pretty high expectations. So, what you got? Mr. Best in his class of Pokemon. Ariados. That's not bad. Not terrible. Not bad at all, actually. That is a fully evolved Pokemon, and I imagine it's fairly good. I mean, it is a bug type, so it could be better. I went for Stun Spore by accident. It doesn't affect Ariados. I don't know why. I guess I just missed. I forgot that that's how that message works. Before I used Stun Spore on a Skarmory, and I was like, why did that not work? Why is it not affecting? It's not affecting because that means it missed. Which is confusing, and I'm glad that they corrected that in future games. That they made sure that there was a difference in like the dialogue it presents between. They made sure there was a difference between. Sure, it was a difference in dialogue between like status failing and status missing, because that makes things a lot less confusing. But in this game and in games prior to this one, it is in fact the case that whether it misses or whether it actually does not, just straight up does not affect the Pokemon you're using it on, it says it did not affect. Which is confusing, because then you don't know what the problem is. You don't know if the problem is that the Pokemon you used it on isn't affected by that for some reason, or that it just missed the Pokemon and you should try again. You don't know if you should try again, or if it's just like something that straight up doesn't work on that Pokemon, and therefore you should not try it again. You could just think it missed, and then try it like 3 times, without realizing that the Pokemon you're using it on is completely immune to whatever that status effect is. That because of that, that's like a very confusing aspect of this game. That the failing on that Pokemon versus missing that Pokemon is the same message for status effects. Because that's not the same. That's not the case for. It's not the case for like moves. Like it doesn't say like the same thing. It doesn't say the same thing for a Pokemon missing, a move missing, and a Pokemon being immune to a move. For a move it's immune to, it says it does not affect. For a move it is for a move that doesn't affect it. Sorry, for a move that does not affect it, it says it does not affect. For a move that misses, it says it missed. So why would it? So it doesn't. It's not the same message for missing versus not affecting on an attacking move. So why would it be the same message for missing and not affecting for a status move. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad that they fixed that in future games. Because in these games, it's confusing. Hoot Hoot goes down. I actually like Hoot Hoot a lot. I love how... I like how circular it is. I think it's funny. In general, it's just a very funny looking design. And I think it looks very different from any other, like, Route 1 bird Pokemon. Because they all look like... They're all, like, shaped generally like birds. And Hoot Hoot is just not shaped like a bird, and I think that's funny. It's just a big old sphere. It's so, like, comically round. No, there are better trainers! Sorry, dude. Hate to burst your bubble, but just because you're the best in your school does not mean you are the best. The best there is. I'm the daycare man. Do you know about eggs? I was raising Pokemon with my wife, you see. We were shocked to find an egg. How incredible is that? So, want me to raise your Pokemon? No. No thank you. Come again. What do you have to say, daycare lady? I'm the daycare lady. Do you know about eggs? I just called you daycare lady, but that's apparently just what you call yourself. That's great. Lucky guess. My husband and I were raising some Pokemon, you see. We were shocked to find an egg. How incredible could that be? Should I raise a Pokemon for you? No, I didn't mean to say yes. Hold on, sorry. Did not mean to say yes. Oh, fine then. Come again. She did not sound happy with me saying no. So, I think we could dodge this trainer, but I don't know if we have to get into grass to do that. I don't think so. Because, we just, like, yeah. He's off screen right now, so I don't think he can spot me. No, he cannot. Okay. So I dodged the police officer. Dodging the police, that's great. Can I walk past you without you being off screen? Okay. Without you being off screen. Without going into the grass, I meant. Okay, so I cannot... Seems that if they are on the screen, they can probably spot me, at least in this specific circumstance. I don't know, actually, if that rings true for every circumstance where they're off screen, that they can spot me. Every circumstance where, like, if they are on screen, that they can spot me. If they're if I'm in their line of sight. I don't know if that always is something that is... I don't know if that's, like, a constant thing. I don't know if that's, like, something that always works. And in terms of, like, how the game works, I don't know if that's an aspect of the game that is always true. But, in this case, in this scenario, at least, they were on the screen, so they could see me. They were on the screen, and I was in their line of sight, so they could see me. I'm confident in my ability to raise Pokemon. Wanna see? Sure. Just go easy on me, please, because I've had a rough day. And I don't want to lose any more Pokemon. Please don't send out a legendary. Thank you. It's not a legendary. Good. Juan! And Juan is coming in with the Thunder Shock. The super effective Thunder Shock. A move that you would not expect a Gligar to use. Yet here we are. Juan always defying expectations. Hitting you with the most unexpected moves. Is this a good idea? I'm gonna say yes. It'll kill, right? Like, if it doesn't kill, I'm screwed. But it will kill, right? Yeah, it kills. Done. Good. Because Nightshade would have lowered me down to 1, and then, Burn would have killed me. If that did not hit. I didn't do a good enough job, did I? Or if that did not kill, even. It was gonna hit. It just was a question of, will it kill? Maybe I should leave one in daycare. What should I do? Wow, you're pretty tough. Could I get your number? Sure, it'd be great to have someone besides Veronica calling me. Don't get me wrong, Veronica's cool and all. But she calls a lot. And, I'd like to mix it up every once in a while. Like, maybe talk to someone else. I'll call you for a rematch. Yeah, sure. Thanks, registered Wayne's number. Bruce Wayne? Is this Batman? I'll call you if anything comes up. Oh my gosh, I think I just got Batman's number. This is crazy. I'm in contact with Batman. Wow. Have to call him. Next time I see Team Rocket, I'll just call him. Call him up. Hey, Wayne. We got some trouble over here. Just jumps into the Batmobile and he's like, don't worry, I'm on my way. But, now we are going to put, name. What is the name? How do I forget these things? Stuart. We're gonna put Stuart in the box with, Rachel. And now we are back down to 2 Pokemon on the team and an egg. Did we ever have 2 Pokemon on the team and an egg? Or was it always like 3 Pokemon on the team and an egg? I guess it must have been 2 Pokemon at some point, right? A higher level Pokemon doesn't always win. After all, it may have a type disadvantage. I don't think there is a single Pokemon that is the toughest. That is probably wise, honestly. I don't think there is one strongest Pokemon, at least not in this generation. I mean, Mewtwo, I guess, in this generation, actually. There is a Pokemon that is the strongest as of this game, but it's not in this region, so you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know about it. Anyway, yeah, that is gonna wrap up today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching EV Clan. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. This is Alex Beyond, signing off.